Welcome to Masters Toronto, where we take a look at the best and worst plays. From fake Yoru clones to insane timings, strap in because this is the best and worst plays of Masters Toronto. 12 of the best Valorant teams in the world are competing for enough money to buy one Valorant Champions bundle. Our first team competing is APAC's third seed, PRX, and they're looking like they're about to hit both tracks of the trolley problem. On the receiving end are EMEA's second seed, Team Heretic. We kick things off on Pearl, and something is on Yoru, not Forsaken. The streets were asking, why would you take Sasantu off Yoru? Little did they know, he could do it all. PRX opens with something giving the Sun a run for its money, blinding all 5 of his teammates. On the first buy, GENG starts moving like there's one donut left downstairs and he's got 4 older brothers. By round 5, PRX were hosting a TED Talk. Dr. GENG was running it down and giving Heretics a lecture on his PhD thesis about using the judge. PRX could do no wrong. It didn't matter how many Heretics were on site, PRX was speed running the lobby. At the half, Heretics were down 1-11 and Forsaken looked like the president of the server. If Heretics comm sounded anything like my ranked game, someone was about to get comm banned. Heretics could not form a thought of the comeback and showcased a masterclass in fumbling the bag from round 2. The final map 1 score was 13-1 PRX. Now we move over to Icebox, and PRX start out ice cold, moving together like a colony of penguins. Heretics try to pressure B main, which ends up being the one mistake they're not allowed to make. Just 2 rounds later, they forget about the stepdad level beatdown they received on B and run it back. Somehow, it works. After a messy skirmish, Heretics are in a 2v1, and Mr. Fish himself clutches up, putting Heretics on the board. But PRX wasn't going to let that slide. The despicable player that Jason is pulled out the Odin and started mowing. Throughout the game, we'd see Benji Fishy animorph from a fish into a rat, scheming in his spawn. But hold on, just like Remy, let the rat cook. PRX kept locking down B main, and if Heretics wanted in, they needed to make a blood sacrifice. So eventually, they just ran it A. And it kinda worked. Benji started looking like a fish in water, making plays that 9 out of 10 plat chatters would approve of. Fed up with the fish, something pulled out the op, and suddenly PRX were able to contest mid. But Benji countered with the classic Sentinel Operator. Please keep this guy out of my ranked games. While our 2 op players were doom scrolling in mid, the players on B site were fighting for their lives. Finally, after an 18-hour shift on TikTok, Benji hits the operator diff on something and Alex is not happy. By halftime, Heretics were fighting dirty. Eye pokes, biting, lurking into A in a 2v5, truly the John Jones of Valorant. By the time the next pistol rolled around, GENG had clearly been conducting in some witchcraft during the break. I mean, where did this guy go and how did he end up here? Truly terrifying stuff. While Benjamin Fisherman was a standout for Heretics, Forsaken was coming up with impact frag after impact frag, then topping it off with some cheeky B-hops. Eventually, Devise in a 1v2 and Heretics have a chance. But then, Rians receives the Cash App deposit. From here, PRX starts running away with it. If you told me that GENG was teleporting into the enemy spawn and treating Heretics like his little brother in a game of Mario Kart, I would tell you that's normal GENG behavior. Heretics is so shook that Boo starts having war flashbacks. Like, what is this guy even looking for? But low-key, he was kinda right because Patman is a creature of the night. PRX close it out, putting them at 1-0 in groups. Next up is Team Liquid versus Bilibili Gaming. EMEA's third seed versus China's second seed. Though, Liquid are missing one of their best players named after a bug, Nats. We kick off Icebox with Kiko cooking early, almost hitting a ridiculous ace clutch, and by frame 1, you already know this is going to be a banger. BLG close out the eco, but not before Penny pulls a coin flip and somehow gets his. And you'd be a fool to think he only does it once, because just 2 rounds later, he does it again. But this time, Russia does not get fooled. By round 6, both teams were making trading in art form, looking like 10-year-olds that just discovered Pokemon cards. The next round, Penny puts on his best GENG cosplay and immediately gets shown why he is not JJ. It all comes down to a 1v1, and the ghillie suit himself clutches it out, putting Team Liquid ahead. While YZ and Keiko are backpacking, Knight decides to become the backpack. Truly inspirational. In the last round of the half, Russia hits Liquid with a quick 3-piece and Keiko with the Harbor diff, bringing us to 5-7 at the half. Russia and YZ were BLG's lifeline, playing like their Valorant plushies were being held hostage and winning was the only way to see them again. I mean, look at this play. YZ runs through the smoke with no util, gets 2, drops to 1 HP, and keeps running it. BLG ride the momentum, leaving Liquid down 3, so they call a timeout, and their new strategy is just to win gunfights. Apparently, this works. But in the final hour, Neff puts on his cape with the big 3K, and Knight looks like he just got lost in a corn maze. It's fine though. Levius follows up with a Lurk masterclass that had Team Liquid looking over their shoulder for the rest of their lives. Off the back of confident plays like that, BLG close out the map 13-10. On Haven, Liquid bring out Phoenix, and Twitch chat declares the match is over. But Penny wastes no time in proving them wrong with a game of the floor is lava. He's becoming the modern day drone, dropping 3 in a round like this. How are we not killing this Abraham Lincoln looking coin? Someone called John Wilkes Booth. Despite Penny's heroics, Levius knocks on BLG's door selling vacuums. When BLG tries to decline, Levius does not let them. Neff goes big too, clutching a 1v2. 1v3 if you count the Phoenix ult. He is locked in. Russia finally gets tired of Liquid's retakes and decides to take matters into his own hands, unaware that his hands are made of the softest material known to man. Luckily, Neff's hands are made of titanium, and he deletes Patty Tech before the Kai can even load in. Next round, Russia said he wanted a 3-piece, but he was not talking about a KFC combo meal. But at this point, BLG might have divine intervention, as Camo's bullets literally curve around Neff here. This guy definitely took the red pill. With YZ running it down and Neff frying, BLG are starting to catch timings like this one onto Penny. Keep in mind that Penny is just a stand-in for Nats, and this man is getting done like that. Save his soul. At the half, BLG lead 8-4, but Camo says no more. Even after Levius gets a kill and thinks the round is over, Camo finds a way to get Kiko anyways. If I'm Kiko, my fist is going through that monitor. But just when it looks lost, Kiko says nah, and drops a 3k to stop the bleeding. Hero plays are the name of the game. Penny, the guy supposed to be ringing, wins a massive 1v2 and keeps Liquid in the game. The next couple rounds go Liquid's way, with Camo and Kaiko playing like they left the oven on, and if they don't finish this match in time, their house is gonna burn down. The duo sends us into OT, where the neon differential is on full display, with Camo popping heads like bubble wrap. YZ, a little upset that Camo's getting all the love, fires back, bringing the game into double OT. BLG win the next round, and Knight finds himself in a 1v3 clutch. Despite the effort, Penny takes his weights off and brings us to triple overtime. At 14-14, the stress breaks Russia, and he willingly throws himself into traffic and hopes that this game can end. Serial obliges, dropping a 3k and dragging us to a map 3 banger. Also, shout out to Patty Tech for managing to get 4 kills in this hour-long game and still win. No excuses here. Just like the end of Haven, Serial starts hot, winning Liquid the pistol. At this point in the match, you can tell the players are getting a little hungry, evident by Kaiko and Camo lining up single file for lunch. But even though lunch was just served, it's cereal time, and he's looking like the Captain Crunch. The overload of cereal appears to be making YZ a bit loopy as he willingly swings into 3 people. I mean, he knew they were there because Levius just checked his cam and YZ still offered up his lunch money. But lunch money doesn't matter when Papa Knight already packed you a meal. Liquid don't go down easy though. Off the back of a sick ult from Patty Tech, they win a thrifty. They say a wise man waits 3 years for revenge, but Russia only waits 1 round, dropping a 4k to keep the game even. With every round coming down to a 1v1 or 1v2, Neff joins the Clutch Club with his own big moment. At the half, Billy are up 7-5, and they carry that momentum cruising into the pistol. But if there's one Liquid player that can save them, it's Serial. During the half, he drank 4 Red Bulls, and this newfound power allows him to clutch up a 1v3. And despite Penny thinking he's playing poker after experiencing the big blind, he still manages to get one here. How? This guy's constantly coming up big on the back foot, making plays that would make Nats proud. No matter the effort though, BLG aren't giving up a single round for free, making Liquid fight for inches like an American arguing against the metric system. I mean, tell me how YZ wins the ISO fight, gets out in front of 2 players, and still gets one. Like, did they just forget bro existed? The mistakes add up, and Billy take the series 2-1, putting both EMEA teams at 0-1 apiece. Not a great start for the region. Our next match is NA's number 2 seed, Sentinels, versus China's number 3 seed, Wolves. After some production that led to every player becoming Zelsis, Wolves start strong by winning the pistol. But in the play that warrants Sean Garrett's speculation, Juicy runs into Zelsis, hoping the old man's multivitamin hadn't kicked in yet. Unfortunately for Juicy, Zelsis had taken 2. After the last round, Juicy had to find work elsewhere, so he picked up a job with Amazon hand-delivering Vandals. Even with Juicy expecting the cash app, it is clear that BB wants no part in the win trading group chat. Straight after, we see God reach down from the heavens and bless Bang with the easiest 4K I've seen in my entire life. It was so beautiful that Coach Kaplan called a timeout to personally congratulate Bang. While I initially thought Juicy may have been win trading, it appears that running it is actually passed down from his great-grandfather, and plays like this could not be avoided. I am becoming a Juicy fan. The next round, Zekin goes down and literally cannot believe it, thinking his youth would protect him till he at least turned 14. Eventually, Bang is left in 2v1 with the opportunity to stop Wolves' momentum, and he does not disappoint. He stops them like he's conducting a game of red light, green light. Piggybacking off Bang's plays, Narrate becomes the sight anchor that the Titanic could have used. But the Wolves IG Double B does not take kindly to the disrespect and proceeds to put Bang and Cutie in timeout. John gets so rattled he thought this doorway extended for at least another 10 meters. Wolves end the half up 8-4, a solid 3-star offensive dish. But Sentinels are cooking something up that Gordon Ramsay would cry over. Pistol round comes down to Narrate and YU circling each other like their pathfinding is broken, where Narrate eventually pulls it out to win the round. Coming into the next round, Wolves set up a trap play that looks really cool, but that's about it. Like, bro just said no thanks and walked away mid-play. Plays like this had Sentinels starting to run away with the lead. This is Wolves' first land and nerves might be showing as Spring appears to think there's a gap in the aftershock here. Spoiler, there is no gap. It would be 9 straight rounds and 2 timeouts before Wolves saw another round. Near match point, Lysor is in the perfect position to win the round for Wolves. Correction, he is not in the perfect position to win the round for Wolves. With Juicy treating this like a 2 a.m. ranked match and Lysor skipping his daily 4-hour aim lab session, Sentinels close it out 13-11. Wolves start map 2 by abandoning their cub Lysor on B, leaving him completely isolated. In round 3, Bang is in every player's dream position. But wait, you're telling me Spring gets 2 here? The very next round, Wolves waste the clock, panic run B, and Lysor tries to plant in the Viper Molly. Truly one of the plays of all time. They somewhat make up for it though as Spring proceeds to clap Bang completely on accident. But Wolves appear to be struggling more and more as the game goes on. This becomes more evident when Sentinels get every kill in the most disgusting way possible. Narrate even whips out the Odin. Truly despicable behavior. At this point you can tell Sentinels are feeling themselves, not respecting any utility that Wolves use, and Sen close the half up 9-3. Coming out of the half, Sen try to enter Club Breakable, but the bouncer that is Spring is not going to let them through with those fake IDs. But hey, at least Cutie gets his next round. A couple rounds later, Zekken sends it into C and gets picked out of the air with the reason being that he is too young to be on an airplane. At 10-7, we see Bang in the middle of making an Omen tips and tricks video, teleporting out of the Killjoy ult and canceling it to come back. I don't know what to tell you, Bang, that is not going to work here. In the last round, we see Cutie himself play a 1v2 masterfully, handing Wolves their first loss of Toronto. Coming up next is MIBR, America's 3rd seed, taking on APAC's 2nd seed, GENG. GENG start out strong, winning pistol by forcing Zenom to run out of mousepad space. Just a couple rounds later, MIBR turn a one-way into a game of jump rope, putting Texture in a body bag. By round 6, the highest kill count on MIBR is 1. Things are going so bad that Artisan looks like he's retired mid-match and taking up work as a cornerman. But hey, even cornermen can catch strays. For whatever reason, teleporting into the enemy spawn has become meta. Somehow, this round still ends up in a 1v3 and the GOAT Verno himself clutches up. Next round, Foxy Ajaxes his ult, giving MIBR a way back into this game. But any hope of that is swiftly put to rest with Munchkin's trademark Judge. Disgusting weapon. While Aspas falls asleep in his chair, I want to tell you guys to subscribe if you're enjoying the coverage. Expect more content as Toronto continues. GENG can't seem to do anything wrong. Aspas is posted on the flank for at least 20 seconds, and right when he looks away, Texture peeks. But Texture's doing it all. He's making plays like this and still getting 2. I'm convinced he has a Word exe file somewhere on that computer. MIBR head into the half down 3-9, praying for their final boss to show up. Turns out it's not Aspas showing up, it's Verno. He's making absolutely ridiculous plays. He loses the round, but the streets are still saying that Verno is him. MIBR string together a couple rounds, but GENG eventually remembers this isn't a show match and shuts it down. Map 1 ends in GENG's favor. Coming into map 2, GENG showed no signs of stopping. Texture starts by appearing out of thin air. Like, these guys had no idea he could even be backside. How did he get there? And if Texture is Houdini, Karen is Chris Angel Mindfreak. How he gets one here, gets out, and still gets more? This guy is truly a magician. But let's not blame it all on GENG playing great. MIBR also does a little trolling. In this round, they tell Aspas to go in. Everyone's ready to follow up behind him. Until he actually goes in. And then they start placing bets on how long he can survive. It's so bad that not only are we forgetting to clear our corners, but MIBR are now catching bullets meant for utility. I mean, at least they're playing as a team and swinging with each other, right? This turns into the most dominant half we've seen so far. 11-1 GENG. MIBR lose the pistol out of the break, and with that, any real shot at a comeback. GENG shut it down and remind MIBR that there are levels to this. Our next match is Bilibili versus Sentinels. Coming into this, both teams are 1-0 in groups, but only one's walking away with a guaranteed playoff spot. Sentinels are put on blast immediately, with Neff silently sneaking through B main like he can't make a creak or his parents will wake up. BLG convert the bonus after Russia shows why you can't trust anyone. Not even a one-way. A couple rounds later, Neff throws on the backpack that is his team and almost pulls out this clutch. He still gets all 4 though, so that's a win in my book. However, by this point it's clear, Sentinels are not wearing green, leading to them getting pinched from every angle. That's not stopping Zekin from waffling around on his new favorite agent though. Cutie tries to pick up the slack, but it's a little hard to do when you're getting random through smoke. And when Russia feels like hitting every shot, Sentinels is going to be down 4-8 at the half. And no, the half does not slow Bilibili down. Levius opens up the second half with one of the best utilizations of cover I've ever seen, sending Sentinels into the wood chipper. Fast forward a few rounds and Sentinels start closing the gap with solid team play. But Russia has had enough of these shenanigans and leads Bilibili into closing out map 1. Unfortunately for Billy, Sentinels suddenly remember they have Zekin and put him back on Duelist. Billy opened the map by taking their 3rd pistol in a row. Enraged by this, John Cutie trades a chunk of his life force for a quick little 4K. A few rounds later, YZ is not only making Riot reconsider adding Neon, but summoning literal ghosts behind his enemies. Taking a breather, Levius and Bang look like they're about to call a truce. But no, Bang's just gonna run his pockets. In the very same round, YZ stumbles into the most terrifying Pokemon Horde encounter I've ever seen. 2 rounds later, Zelsis is hiding in the smoke like he's playing hide and seek. My brother, we can see your feet sticking out from under the drapes. But if there's one player in this game who's been making money, it's the Cutie, consistently putting up multi-kills in important rounds. Because of these heroics, Center up 7-5 heading into the half, and even though Cutie's been the star, Bang's having a little moment too. Sentinels carry the momentum into the second half by winning the bonus off the back of YZ going for more here after catching this timing. You got yours, bro, just leave. But before long, Billy starts folding under the pressure. Even rounds where YZ's making plays like this, they're still losing, giving Sen map 2. Map 3 comes down to one question. Is Zekin on Duelist? Oh, thank God. Sentinels pick up the pistol with Zelsis looking like he's about to have a stroke by trying to win the round. By this point in the game, YZ is so mentally boomed that he started taking his own life. Still, it somehow doesn't matter though, because Levius is locked in, making Sen lose their bye round. By round 6, we've reached the point in the game where we start inventing new strategies like running directly at the Razor. Round 9 leads us to a 2v4 situation where YZ and Knight know exactly what they need to do. YZ starts in Waterfall, getting his, and Knight takes 2 guys on at once on the re-engagement, leaving YZ in a 1v1 where he and his shotgun finish it off. The 2v4 had Sen coaches looking like they just got home from school to discover that their fish didn't make it. The Sen players do not appear to be shaken though. Cutie sits in one spot like a drop Kuronami, and Bilibili are so focused on the S tier skin that they immediately get clapped. But I just received some breaking news. YZ has been diagnosed as a certified maniac. Not only is this guy entering with the op, he's pulling out a chair for Zekin and treating the sniper like a shotgun. Unreal. Even with the heroics, it's fairly even heading into the half, with Bilibili leading 7-5. Sen finally win a pistol thanks to Uncle Zelsis, who's only here so he can bring souvenirs home for his grandchildren. Just a couple rounds into the half, adrenaline junkie Russia starts looking for some dangerous activities, when he comes face to face with 4 John Wicks. In the same round, Narrate reveals he's bit by a radioactive spider, because how else is he churning around at the exact right moment? At 11-9, we see Billy set up a high-low that leads to Neff experiencing the highest of lows. Then, at match point, Sentinels have 15 seconds left on the clock, and somehow, Zekin dodges every bullet here. Has to be some sort of bug. Even worse for Billy, they go on to lose the round in the match. On the flip side though, Sentinels just clinch their spot in playoffs. Our next match is Paper Rex versus GENG. Both teams are 1-0 in groups, meaning the winner punches their ticket to playoffs. We open with Forsaken being big and greedy, trying to scoop up all the kills, but GENG are about sharing, which prevails in the end. Momentum builds fast, and Munchkin hits a 3rd round ult, using it to roast PRX like they're guests at a Comedy Central special. But PRX are not backing down. When Karen hears a knock at the door, he does not expect the entire SWAT team to breach and raid his home. Also, Texture gets his first 4K of the match this round, but then on round 6, Texture's staring down another chance at an ace. But of course, you cannot change fate. At this point, PRX are getting rolled. It's round 8 and the entire squad has a combined 13 kills. But if anything can save them, it's PRX magic, where players somehow get 2 when they should only get 1. After GENG makes the front page of Reddit, we're left down to a 1v1 to decide who gets to be James Omen in real life. Jason does not let this opportunity slip. 2 rounds later, map geometry gets texture a free kill. Bro hit the light and disappeared like he went on a vacation to Fiji. Looking to land a 4-8 half, Devi is shooting 3s from half court, but when Karen tries to do the same, he just does not have the impact. The round is over, lil bro. These kills mean nothing. After Karen opens up the second half by winning GENG the pistol, you can tell he is not happy with Texture stealing all of his kills. At this point, PRX has started doing a little trolling, and the main culprit looks to be Forsaken. Scratch that. It may look like he's trolling, but this guy is actually doing God's work, almost doubling the next player's kills on his team. With confidence like that, the aura is so bright that not even Texture can kill him. Okay, I might do a little bit of lying, but as a punishment for killing Forsaken, Texture gets stuck in the eternal pullout animation. Some say he's still trying to pull out knives to this day, but there's shenanigans all around. Apparent by Munchkin chest bumping Devi and A-Main. Finally, on round 20, we start to see some big plays. Batman, stuck in a 1v3, ends up making GENG look like a bunch of jokers. In round 22, PRX catch Texture dead to rights, but do not realize that he has 5 layers of bulletproof vest on. Devi ends up in a 1v3 facing his toughest enemy yet, ammo management. PRX are 1 round away from sending the game into overtime, and Devi is once again left in the clutch. However, Karen is not Karen and proceeds to give us a 12-slide PowerPoint presentation on why the Stinger needs to be nerfed, giving GENG map 1. On map 2's pistol round, Texture is still him, picking up a quick 3-piece. And even though Karen gets exposed for playing on a 4x3 aspect ratio, Munchkin is still there to clean up the pieces, and when he hits this ace, it's reported Texture screams into the void, asking why. At this point, GENG are dominating, and Foxy9 is so elusive I thought he was my dreams for a second. By round 9, Alex has hit the breaking point. Man's considering quitting and becoming a farmer. He does not want to be on this train anymore. PRX fans get a tiny glimmer of hope though, with something picking up a 3K to close the half 3-9. Only for the next pistol to immediately take that hope away, crush it, and mail it to the moon. I mean, even something's missing shots on a player who isn't looking at him. PRX is cooked, GG, go next. And with that, GENG clinched their spot in playoffs. Now we reach the do or die territory. Wolves versus Heretics. Both teams are 0-1 in groups, and the loser here goes home last place at Masters Toronto. Wolves start strong by taking pistol, and in the first buy, Spring becomes the boogeyman under Miniboo's bed. Miniboo tries to run away, but it's already too late. And just when it looks like Heretics might get on the board, YU shuts Rians down with an ice-cold headshot. On round 6, Woot seems to know Spring's exact XYZ location. But there's just one problem. He forgot to reload. Seeing his other duelist waffling about, Miniboo decides to take over, running up a quick 4-piece to give Heretics their 4th round. However, Spring is a brick wall this game, and he does not blink no matter how much utility or how many bodies you throw his way. Even with Woot pulling out the Reddit tech, it does not stop Spring from picking up back-to-back 3Ks, putting Wolves at 8-4 at the half. But Spring is not the only one stepping up for Wolves. On pistol, Juicy gets 1, 2, 3, 4, and left in the 1v1, you already know he's going to clutch up. And not only is he clutching rounds, he is also causing permanent eye damage to Miniboo. Even with Miniboo showcasing the full cheese that is Yoru's kit, he still cannot get this kill. On round 22, Woot channels his inner prod for just a second, almost making the highlight reel. But off the back of Spring and Juicy's consistent heroics, Wolves take map 1. Map 2 starts and Juicy does not slow down. On the pistol, he puts out an open letter to remove right click from the classic. And on Heretics buy, Juicy again is Himothy, putting up another 3K, but not without a little whiffing from Lysor. By round 6, Lotus is looking dim for Heretics, and the Juicy Glaze Fest does not stop. Look at this movement! But if Juicy is the yin, Lysor is the yang, always doing a little bit of trolling. Heretics start to string together some rounds. They catch BB panhandling outside C and immediately sentence him to 30 years hard labor. Benji Fishy also starts showing up. He's the owner of the C site, and trespassers will be shot on site. They claw it back to a 5-7 half, and there's still life for Heretics. On pistol, we see Fishy caught in a 1v1, where he goes for a K-quality shot, but this time without the back. On the buy, Wolves start snacking, where Spring goes on a roll with a nice 4K locking down C site. But of course, it's not a Wolves game without more Juicy plays. Heretics owe rent, and Juicy is here to collect. Even when Heretics should have the round, Spring just decides Benji Fishy is his son now and adopts him mid-round. Every round seems to have a big play from Spring. With 1 second left before being detained, Spring runs the 100-yard dash and still manages to catch Boo. If Heretics have learned anything from this match, it's not to play against Spring. Team Heretics are eliminated from Masters Toronto in 11th to 12th, and Wolves move on, 1 match away from playoffs. Up next, it's Liquid versus MIBR, and good news, Nats fixed his visa issues and is back in the lineup. Liquid take the pistol off the back of Patty Tech, who lays down a quick little 3-piece. Fast forward to round 6 and Nats is back, baby. Even with Zenom pulling off some crazy timing, you simply cannot out-rat the original rat. Coming into round 7, Verna opens with a frame 1 ult on Patty Tech, using it to establish a firm Sova differential. He follows it up with a slick 3K and gets left in a 1v1 with 1 bullet left. For one moment, I thought he was going to hit that. But Verno isn't the only one cooking. Zenom hits a clean 3K of his own, not without a Kiko jump scare though. Speaking of Kiko, Liquid toss him a hero rifle and he does not disappoint, clutching up the 1v1 to thrifty MIBR. Also, if I had a nickel for every time Verno ulted frame 1, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Then, it's Nats time. Look at this disgusting reversal he hits on Zenom to steal the round. With Nats and Kiko popping off, Liquid go into the half up 7-5. But the pressure doesn't let up. Coming into the pistol, Kiko becomes the CEO of 180 Incorporated and absolutely bags Zenom with one of the nastiest pivots we've seen all week. But finally, a few rounds later, we get to see the final boss come online, hitting a spray so crazy I thought he was a bottle of hairspray. Still, this match is a Nats lurking masterclass. You could board up your house, seal the windows, lock every vent. He is still going to get in. Even though Aspas is usually him, today he's having a momentary lapse in goatery. MIBR finally look poised to take a round, but Nats reminds them that he got his visa and he's here. This map belongs to Liquid. Map 2 starts off with Liquid winning the pistol after Camo gets way too up close and personal. That's a restraining order type kill. On the first round, Aspas is pondering if time is truly relative, because he gets timing so bad it challenges his philosophy. The round ends in a tight 2v2, but Verno, who's been one of the consistent bright spots for MIBR, clutches it out. But that doesn't mean their problems are solved. Artisan lights up a wall behind Nats like he's trying to paint graffiti, and of course, Nats survives. On round 7, we see the spirit of Kane Zera possess Nats as he starts b-hopping straight into a 2-man setup. But he is not built like Kane, so it does not work. Next round, Liquid send Camo on a suicide mission, walking into site completely alone. But MIBR bite on the fake anyway. Doesn't matter though, because Verno has a sixth sense that hasn't been discovered by science yet. He randoms 2 players through smokes like he can sense heat signatures. Still, Nats comes back with a vengeance, picking up a 1v2 clutch to give Liquid their 6th. Artisan, who's been quiet most of this map, finally wakes up, picking up a little collat and making this round his. And even with Kiko making TP plays like this, Liquid still managed to find the rounds, ending the half up 7-5. Once again, Liquid pick up the pistol, which allows Camo to do a little eco farming, like he's trying to complete his Valorant dailies. On MIBR's buy, Court has the opportunity of a lifetime with perfect trigger discipline. And he absolutely blows it. The bag was fumbled. And just like before, Kane Zera's spirit jumps to a new host. Knife out, b-hopping at the enemy. Where's Eggster when you need him? Finally on match point, MIBR try to pull something together, but the plays aren't there and Liquid closes it out. MIBR are eliminated from Masters in 11th to 12th and Liquid live to fight another day. Our next match is Wolves versus BLG, and this means we're getting the GOAT clash, YZ versus Juicy. The loser of this match is out and the winner goes to playoffs. The pistol starts with BLG walking into a wood chipper getting shredded to pieces. But BLG claps back immediately, and we're left in a collective 10 HP clutch, and Russia proves that his health doesn't matter. I mean, I think that's normal amongst Valorant players though. That sets up YZ for a little stat farm session in the next round. On the first buy, BB starts hearing ghosts, but nope, those were real bullets. Time to get the ears checked. Next round, YZ does everything he can to save Russia, but at some point, you just have to let go. Meanwhile, in an attempt to save, Lysor throws one piece of utility that can save himself. And it's off the map. On round 8, it looks like YZ is dead for sure. But nope, Lysor is the one that gets punished for believing he could have that kill. A couple rounds later, we see Wolves stuck in a 2v3, and despite heroics from YU, they can't close it out, leaving Wolves down 5-7 at the half. The second half opens up with Spring picking up a nice 3k and even asks YZ politely to wait his turn before killing him. Then, in round 15, Levius is the perfect position to lock down B, until he eats a flash from his own teammate. Where's my 3-2-1 flasher when you need him? That leaves Spring in a 1v1, and he's closing out the Omen diff with ease. Bro is definitely bringing that momentum into the next round, dropping 4 BLG players like it's just another Wednesday. Plays like this lead Wolves to take map 1, 13-5. Map 2 opens up with the little game of whack-a-mole for Levius, earning BLG the pistol. But the ropes are not done, claiming victim. YZ picks up a crazy timing onto Juicy. Bro had one chance to see him, and he did not seize it. On round 5, Knight goes searching for a 16 health YU, and he gets to experience a first-hand drive-by. But YU is not YZ, and even with Juicy flying at him, YZ is still getting his. Also, we see this guy holding up a picture of Sideshow. But wait, it was actually Bren the whole time! Back to Spring. This dude is on one. He lurks through mid, drops 3, and follows it up with another 3 next round. This guy is unkillable. On round 12, Juicy's left in a 1v2 and just movement diffs his way through, sending Wolves into the half up 8-4. The second pistol goes to BLG, giving them a chance back into this game. And BLG run with that chance, realizing the key to winning is simply avoiding Spring. It also helps out when YZ starts pulling out 4Ks. Lysor stops the bleeding though, and when BLG asks to enter his site, he responds with a firm but polite no. Wolves start stringing together some rounds, but that's stopped once Juicy Ajaxes his ult. But don't expect the GOAT to fumble twice. He is the gatekeeper of mid and has decided that BLG is mid. BLG are having trouble finding any success. They're getting clapped so hard that Levius starts shooting at his demons. And off the back of a raise differential, Wivs close out the series 2-0, knocking BLG out of Toronto in 9th to 10th while punching their tickets to playoffs. Our last match at groups is PRX versus Team Liquid, and if PRX lose here, it's basically a national tragedy. I'm sorry EMEA, I'm a PRX guy. Liquid come out swinging, securing the pistol, allowing Kiko to do a little eco farming. Then Liquid also take the bonus? Wait, that's not in the script. PRX start is looking grim. But GENG, abusing shotguns and a couple of frags from Batman, bring PRX right back into the game. That gives Something the cash to pull out the up. He grabs a kill on A and Serial walks into B like it's free real estate. Nope, Something's also there too. You are safe nowhere. PRX starts building up confidence and Jason's heating up, but Kiko is not having that. He clutches a 2v1 by capitalizing on Something's goldfish memory. Like bro, did we forget Kiko was ulting? I mean, Kiko's doing it all, but it's not enough because Liquid are still losing these rounds. But it's not without some shenanigans from Forsaken. Regardless, PRX close out an 8-4 half with a classic GENG 3K. But Patty Tech fires back with Liquid winning the pistol. Liquid are stringing together some rounds with Nats and Camo being the difference makers. Even so, there's not enough mousepad space in the world to save Camo from this swing. GENG finds himself in a 1v4, and instead of reloading, he just yeets himself into open space, praying Nats will take him back into Liquid's loving arms. Down 12-9, there's only one saving grace for Liquid, and that's Camo pulling off the fake Yoru clone. That sparks Kiko, who aces and sends us into overtime. Surely PRX don't throw away the 12-8 lead, right? Overtime starts with both PRX duelists feeding in the first 10 seconds, allowing Liquid to take their charity. And yet, another round is decided by GENG within the first 10 seconds, but this time, he's the guy putting up the frags. In double OT, Something's had enough and starts scrolling TikTok, giving Liquid their 14th round. Map 1 comes down to a 2v2 for PRX, with Jason really trying to do it all in the end, but he cannot secure it and Liquid come through with Map 1. Map 2 opens up with Kiko reminding us who he is. On the buy round, we see Patty Tech spect all his skill points into the awareness trait. We also see the reason that PRX brought Sage in, but sadly, we don't get to see any kills from it. On round 7, we see Camo break not only Batman's crosshair, but his spirit with this swing. Serial catches Something on the FNAF cams and slams the door shut on B site. On round 11, it's clear that Patty Tech has been catfished as a big burly Batman shows up and runs his pockets. Camo is left so stunned he cannot even get the trade. In the same moment, Forsaken teleports right in front of Camo, sending Jason straight back to the loving embrace of Liquid. Devi, a bit upset how they massacred his boy, throws up a defensive wall for the res and drops 4 quick ones immediately after, leading PRX 6-6 into the half. On pistol, we see Camo sacrifice himself to hit the biggest stun of 2025, giving PRX the pistol. On the first buy, Forsaken sneaks up A, gets 2, and personally grinds Camo's ankles into a fine paste. Momentum is all PRX and Liquid are scrambling. Desperate flanks, weird buys, nothing sticking. But by that point, it's too late and PRX send us to a third map. Map 3 starts and PRX are still in speedrun mode. Even Liquid stars are struggling. PRX pick up the bonus with some silly little B-hops from Batman and a quick 3-piece from Devi. On the first bye round, PRX decide to get up to some antics and push their own one way, but somehow make it work. Down 0-6, Liquid finally trade out and get a round on the board. But this moment of happiness for Liquid doesn't last long, because GENG is offering a 2-for-1 deal on his ult and Liquid cannot resist these prices. And with Forsaken just being a terrible, despicable person using the Odin, Liquid is looking mentally boomed. Things get worse with the Vi picking up 4, sending Liquid into a 1-11 half. A surefire win for PRX. Right? But wait, is that? No, it can't be. Kiko has finally arrived, winning Liquid the pistol. The Liquid lifeline comes down to a 1v1, and Patty Tech clutches up with everything on the line. All of Liquid are individually stepping up, making huge plays, and the next guy to do so is Camo. Not only does he get 4 here, he picks up an ace the very next round. Slowly, Liquid are starting to build a comeback. Despite Liquid stringing together round after round, GENG's still running it down like the scoreline's irrelevant. Now, all of PRX are starting to show cracks. Something's walking into sight looking up for some sort of divine guidance. Of course, this has Alex on the edge of a stroke.
We've lost the match. We've lost the match.
Down from a 1-11 half, Liquid somehow pull it back to overtime with insane plays. Look at the contrast between these coaches. In the first round of overtime, it's clear that neither team can attack, but some heroics from Patty Tech leave him in a 1v1 against Forsaken. And in what might be the biggest moment of his life, he pulls out utility and throws the round. For Liquid, it all comes down to one final fight, and they cannot do it. They clinch their spot in playoffs and knock Liquid out of the tournament in 9th to 10th. Well, that's all the group matches. Expect more coverage in playoffs and subscribe so that you're more likely to see that coverage. Thanks for watching.